Hello and welcome back to Coach's Corner. This is a podcast designed for professional coaches looking to develop themselves in the fitness industry and improve their one-to-one coaching business. In this episode, we are joined by our special guest, Jessica Lockwood, and we are going to dive into the subject of personal development. So Jess is a Tier 3 personal trainer at Equinox in South Kensington, and Jess is very much somebody that likes to focus on personal development. Right, so Jess is currently in my green room. Let's bring her on. How we doing, Jess? Hello, Jess, you alright? There we go, you're live.
Yeah, yep. I'm all good, thank you. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So welcome to the podcast. So Coach's Corner is a podcast for PTs, and you're very much a PT, and the reason I've got you on is to talk about personal development. And so if you don't know, I met Jess at one of my business courses, and what I instantly got from Jess is she's someone that likes to work on herself, likes to grow, and we immediately got talking about books, about podcasts, about different YouTube channels to develop, and I thought it'd be great to bring you on and have an episode on that. So welcome to the podcast. So Jess, the way I like to run my podcast is I break things down into 3 topics, and then we work for each topic, and then we summarize at the end. So topic 1's going to be books, then we're going to go on to podcasts, and then we're going to go on to our favorite YouTube channels. That will sound good?
Sounds perfect. Can't wait. Let's get cracking.
Good. So let's talk about our favorite books, because this is how we first got talking anyway, was about books, because I remember you recommended The One Thing to me, which has been amazing. Yeah. So what I want to talk to you about is I want your 3 top books, and then we're going to dive into each of them, and then we're going to move on. So what are your 3 top business books that you would recommend for people, for personal trainers looking to grow, looking to develop themselves? What have you enjoyed the most?
Absolutely. So I had to think really long and hard about this, because there are so many self-development books that I've been reading over the last couple of years. Couple you may have heard of, couple you may have not. So the first one is Atomic Habits by James Clear.
Yeah, I know it well.
This is probably one that everyone knows about. It's been raved about quite a lot recently, but that is definitely my first one. It breaks down habitual behavior and explains how small daily habits can compound into huge results. And then we've got The One Thing by Gary Keller, which is what I obviously recommended to you.
Yeah.
And then Chimp Paradox by Professor Steve Peters is my third one.
Atomic Habits, The One Thing, and the Chimp Paradox. So exactly. Let's talk about Atomic Habits. What was your biggest takeaways from Atomic Habits? Because that's actually on my top 3. That's one of my go-tos as well. I'm a huge fan of that book. A huge fan of, you got from my course, I'm somebody that has a lot of habits and structure in my life. And I think it's important.
Exactly. So I think for me, and Atomic Habits, it's actually the first one that I read, and it was it's the book that sort of catapulted everything for me, because before I wasn't a PT. I haven't actually been a PT for that long, and Atomic Habits is something that you can break down. It's small daily behaviors, which makes it also realistic and makes these daily habits like very attainable. And also all these daily habits which compound into big results. So things that you're doing day by day actually doesn't feel like a lot, but actually it does amount to huge things in the long run. So that's the main thing that I took from that. And also as well from that book. Oh,
no, go
sorry.
on, you go. No, you go, you go.
What I was going to say as well is that it makes you think in a way of, is this in line with the person that you want to be? Like, is this action, is this habit in line with the person that you want to be? And it really makes you question yourself from that perspective. And it made me realize that a lot of things that I was doing day to day really wasn't in line with who I wanted to be.
Right.
And so it was quite a nice way to look at your life and how you're doing things day to day.
Yeah, like with habits, fitness is a habit. Like to get where you want to be in fitness, it's all about the tiny habits. It's not just all about one big gym session will make it. That's just a part of the sequence. It's how you sleep, it's how you eat, it's how you approach the day. And it's about your sleep routine, your morning routine. It's about literally everything. And Atomic Habits helps you get in the mindset of how to approach that. And they talk about like the Sky. The biggest example is like the Sky cycling team, where I can't remember the guy, but whoever the managers of the Sky cycling team, he went in and he just said, we're going to change everything by 1%. We're just going to make 1% habit changes everywhere, and then they all added up, and that was the biggest. And that's why then they made the bike 1% lighter. They focused on everybody's sleep, improved everyone's sleep by 1%, their nutrition by 1%, their training. They just improved marginal gains everywhere, which then all added up in the end. And if we take that approach to our life, the small habits all add up.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I really took that 1% into my daily life as well. And something that will actually apply to PTs, I recently found a book actually the other day called Day by Day. Right. And it breaks the whole year down into giving you a tip as a personal trainer every single day. And I look at that, I just focus on that one tip per day, and I don't let myself read anything else. And it's like, okay, that can be your 1% that you can action in the day. Yeah, it's a good one. So that's called Day by Day.
Day by Day.
And that's how you get your 1%. Found that to be quite a good way.
Yeah. Okay, so Atomic Habits, if you've not read that, then definitely get it on your list. So what I'm going to do at the end of this podcast, I'm going to put the links to all this stuff below so you can just find it on Amazon. Right, the next one, I think we both put down the same as our second best book, and that's The One Thing. And you recommended this to me off the back of like looking how I structured my to-do list. Remember during the course I was saying that, and then I was like, I'll break my to-do list in to do this week and then to do today. And he was like, that's the one thing. And he was like, you really need to listen to the one thing. And once I did, I can't believe, they did drag out the book a bit, but like what it's trying to tell you is just how to get laser beam focus, really, isn't it? And cut out the noise and focus on where you want to go.
Yeah, and I think something really important about that book, and something that I think that a lot of us can relate to, is that we have such busy lives and we have so many things that we need to focus on. And this isn't just us as personal trainers, it's everyone, right? Your mind can run away with you, and this book really just puts everything into that perspective, and it just, as you say, focuses on, okay, what is it that I really need to do today? What is the one thing that I need to do today that will make everything else easier or unnecessary? And I think that was the main message from the book. And yes, it was dragged out, but it was very good.
And I think like they drag out to us because they have to keep drumming it in, and once that message goes in, you look at your day and there's just nonsense trying to take away your time, and you don't have endless amounts of time. You just don't, and you can so easily waste your day. And I'm very much, I talk about the importance, like in the PT world, I talk about the importance of diary management, looking after your time. Don't spend 14 hours in the gym. Make sure you have dedicated time slots to do certain tasks, but don't just waste your day away with all the noise. Focus on, okay, I've got to do my clients, but what else do I need to do today to get me to where I want to be? And then put everything else, brain dump your other stuff somewhere on a to-do list, but it's not something that you need to focus on right now. Focus on the one thing that's going to get you where you want to be. Yeah.
No, and I think it's important what you just said about also being able to do a brain dump, because you still are going to have that noise. And even if you are focusing on that one thing, yes, it does hone in your focus on that one thing. But at the same time, I think being able to brain dump is important, because it just almost gets it off your chest and out of your head.
I'm a big fan. You know what I'm like with to-do lists, like get it all down, put it in priority order, and once it's out your head and it's down, then you'll eventually do it, and then nothing gets missed, and then you can focus on the more important things. Good. So Atomic Habits and the One Thing, and then your third book is the Chimp Paradox. I've actually got that book on my to-read list, and I've got it in a physical book as well, just over there, but I've not worked my way through it yet. So tell me about the Chimp Paradox.
So the Chimp Paradox is another one of the first self-development books that I read, and it really is a lot about emotional intelligence and how not how do I phrase this? It's that quote where life is about 10% what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. So it helps us give perspective at times where our emotions are really out of whack, and it makes you sort of think in a way that you're reacting not on your emotions, and you're being more of the human side of you than the chimp side of you. It basically says that you have two sides of your brain. One side is the chimp, which is reactive and emotional, and the other side is your human, which is rational and intelligent. So it makes you think of lots of different scenarios in your day-to-day life and how you can respond emotionally and intelligently.
Right. Yeah. I need to give that one a little listen. I'll read / listen. Yeah. We'll talk about that in a sec. The third book on my list was actually, which really set off all my business mindset, was a load of books by Daniel Priestley. Now, I've actually got all these books here, all 4 of them. I don't know which one. I started off with the Entrepreneur Revolution. Huge fan of that. That's a great book of getting your mindset into creating your own businesses, and creating an entrepreneur mindset and how to start a business and how to get into it. And that was like, because a lot of, when it comes to like business work, I used to go elsewhere to get business advice instead of necessarily PT courses, because there wasn't really any around when I was first diving into it. So I used to go to like generic business talks, and the Daniel Priestley's talks were the ones I related to the most, and I really enjoyed the way he come across. So Entrepreneur Revolution was really good. I think the book I liked the most though was his Key Person of Influence, and this is not a plug for Daniel Priestley. This is just, I really enjoyed his books, and I took quite a lot away from this that I could instantly apply. And then now I've made my own PT business courses, which are very much related solely for PTs, but I had to learn all my stuff from generic courses and books, and then I kind of managed to bring that into what was appropriate to me. But I found his books were very useful, and Key Person Influence really opened my eyes of what more I could be doing and I need to do to grow. So I would highly recommend you look into that. I think I've got a spare copy, so I'll give that to you as a treat of being on the podcast.
Thank you.
So let's talk about reading, actually. So I'm always honest to say that I'm a bad reader. I'm a good listener. So
I very much doubt that, Derek.
No. I'm a good listener. So as soon as I leave the house, I can put an audiobook on, and I'd go shopping and have an audio one. I'll get on the tube, have an audio one. Whenever I leave the house, I just put an audio one, and I'm good. So podcasts and audiobooks are good, but I'm really bad at reading because I just fall asleep. So the only time I read, and this is my habit that I need to change, and I talk about it all the bloody time, is I read when I go to sleep. So I tend to go to bed at 10. So at 10 o'clock, lights are off, everything's all done, everything's set out for tomorrow. I pick up a book, I set my alarm, I'm like yada yada yada, and then I just donk off, which is good that I fall asleep that quickly, but it means I just never get through any books. What do you tend to do? Do you read or do you listen? Well, you do a bit of both, don't you?
That's the thing. I read through different methods at different times of day. I think a lot of people are like you in that they go to sleep and they've got a hard copy or a paperback book, and it will send them to sleep in a matter of seconds. I think that can be quite normal. So what I would say is I have different books on different, like on an audiobook, I have them on like a Kindle app, and I have them in paperback, and depending on the time of day, like I think first thing in the morning with a paperback is actually really a nice way to wake up. If you wake up like 20 minutes earlier and you're able to actually read, I think that's a really nice way to start the day. In terms of like commuting, I'll have an audiobook on or a podcast. But yeah, audiobook. And if I want to go on a walk, I'll have an audiobook. And I think one good tip that I've picked up actually is a really good tip actually, downloading a book onto a Kindle or on like an iPad, the Kindle app, So
Mm-hmm.
having it in front of you like that in digital form, but then also downloading the audiobook as well through Kindle, and it will merge into one so you can listen and you can read at the same time. So you're
Right.
using two senses instead of one, and you're also able to read much quicker because someone is talking to you and you're reading at the
Right.
same time. It highlights the words as the person's reading.
Oh, okay.
So that's a really good way
And that's
of
helped
reading,
you.
and I picked that up. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, getting through more things, and also you're taking it in more because it's obviously two senses.
Oh, that makes sense. I've just hit a bit of a wall with it. Like I said, the only time I tend to have in a day is at night to read, and that's also not true. That's as I'm currently working
That's a
through the
priority thing.
yeah as I'm currently working through the Marvel collection in date order, in timeline
Lovely.
order, all 33
Yeah,
films in
that's a
timeline
priority
order.
thing.
Yeah, and I'm on this podcast and I don't have time to read. Uh, at the moment, I see it as a at the minute I see it as a bit of a job, instead of just like my chill out time, where people go, "Oh, I'll just grab a book and just chilled on a Sunday," and I couldn't imagine just doing that just yet, and that's what I need to change. When I go on holiday or when I'm on like traveling, it's easy to read, but yeah, I need to make it more of my daily. I think I would be better off first thing in the morning actually. I wake up at 6, but
Yeah,
I think I could feel comfortable waking up at 5:40, maybe. But I think I might be better off reading in the morning than I am than I am any other time of the day, because I find, especially what we do, like my phone doesn't stop, and I have breaks on my phone, but also like I quite like going through Instagram and stuff, and that
yeah, of
takes up
course.
potential reading
Yeah,
time. So maybe I should book out a time and do it first thing. But I do like the idea of the reading and listening at the same time. Yeah. Okay.
yeah, and
Yeah.
also if you're getting up early and doing that, it's a comfortable way of waking up. It's not as if you have to get up and get changed, go out and go to the gym at 5 in the morning. You literally can just make a coffee, cup of tea, and read. Like it's quite a nice way to start your day.
Yeah. I normally
Mm.
like my morning routine is coffee and a stretch whilst I watch the news. Uh, maybe I need to adjust that slightly. And do a bit of reading, get the brain fired up
Change the
first
habit.
thing.
Read
Yeah.
Atomic Habits again.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. Right. So so Atomic Habits, the one thing, Chimp Paradox, and then I've got Atomic Habits, the one thing, and yeah, I would say Daniel Priestley's Key Person of Influence was probably my favourite book, and I would highly recommend people read that one. Or no, actually, they should start on Entrepreneur Revolution. I think that has to be the starting point, and then if you like his style, you go through the other books. Right, so that's books. Topic 2, I want to talk about a podcast. Now, of course, this is a podcast, but I think podcasts are great ways to work with other businesses, and I'm a huge fan of a podcast, and I've got a few go-tos. What's kind of your kind of go-to podcast at the moment? What are you listening to?
So I've got a couple. Are you going to be offended if I don't say Coach's Corner?
Oh, I'll be massively offended if you do not say Coach's Corner.
But I do obviously love Coach's Corner, of
Of
course.
course.
Ones I listen to most are the Mind Mentor
Right.
and ESG Fitness. Now, I'll explain a little bit of what they both are. So the Mindset Mentor, if you haven't heard, is a guy called Rob Dial Jr. He is kind of like a motivational speaker, really, to put it very simply, but he helps you think differently in certain scenarios and generally just provides you with motivation and a clear set way of where you need to go. And it was the thing that really helped me quit my job and pursue my passion. I would listen to him all day, every day. I've probably listened to nearly every podcast that he has, and it really just, put things into perspective and really just made me go for it. It's very good
Right.
at motivating. Yeah.
Okay, Mindset Mentor. Yeah, okay. I'll look into that. And then what's ESG
Yes, very
Fitness?
good. So this is a lady in the fitness industry called Emma Story Gordon, and it's her podcast. And the thing that I like most about hers is that a lot of her episodes are Q&As of clients that have asked her questions, and she then answers them in depth with her other like co-coaches. She provides really high quality answers to all these questions that her clients have, and probably a lot of what our clients might have as well, and general public, and their struggles with fitness and things that we might not necessarily even think of because it's our career, right? And it's sort of different than the everyday person. So again, it's perspective, and she puts very clever spin on things a lot of the time. She's very science and evidence based as well, which is also informative.
Okay,
which is great.
Nice. I've got a few I listen to, but like my number one podcast that I'm powering through right now is the High Performance Podcast, and I've actually sent you a few episodes, haven't I? I'm a huge fan of that. Like, so it's from two blokes. One of them's called Jake Humphrey. He's a TV sport presenter. He's quite big in the football presenting. And then there's a guy called Professor Damien Hughes, and they created a High Performance Podcast. And because of their name, they've managed to get on the biggest people in the world. Like they get celebrities on to talk about how they got to where they got to, and then break down kind of some key elements of what it takes to get to where they've got, and like the struggles they went through, how they overcome it. And honestly, it's just so good to kind of sometimes hear that. Some of my favourite ones are, podcasts he's done with like Total Wolff, who's in F1 at Mercedes, and Christian Horner from Red Bull. Those two are really big podcasts for me. I really liked. The CEO of Gymshark done one. I really enjoyed that one actually, because he's come such a long way, made a brand out of nothing. My favourite one, I think, is the Bear Grylls one. Is that the one I sent you? I did send you that, didn't I?
Yeah, you sent it to me, and I'd already listened to it.
All right. Yeah, that was by far.
That's a really good one.
That was by far my favourite episode, and that was their 100th episode. And they just have all these huge characters on, and it's just quite great to hear how they've got to where they've got, and the overcoming the obstacles they've come in. And it's just a really good pick me up to listen to weekly, to then go into your day. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Especially after listening to the Bear Grylls one.
Yeah, and I think as well, yes, they've obviously gone through all these obstacles and done all these amazing things to become who they are, but at the same time, it puts them in a light where you can really relate to them. And a lot of these people are very down to earth, and it sort of makes you think that, why are you not able to achieve the kind of things that they've achieved?
Yeah.
And I think it's quite a nice, it breaks it down quite nicely, as you said.
Yeah, and like I found, especially with I'm a big F1 fan, so I really enjoyed the Total Wolff one when he walked into Mercedes, and he was talking about when he took over, and he was like, he walked into reception, and there was like dirty coffee mugs, there was yesterday's newspaper, and he was like, this is not a high performance facility. We are not going to be the leaders in F1 until these tiny things get changed. And you realise how you can think like that, and how actually all that does make a big difference. And I don't know, I loved it. And it's a very easy podcast to listen to. As I said, they present it really well, and and that's my number one at the moment, the High Performance Podcast. And then, of course, Coach's Corner is up there.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah. Right, so podcast, books. Now let's switch to the TV. Our YouTube channels. What YouTube channels do you tend to go to? Which ones are kind of helping you out? Are you a YouTube fan?
Yeah, I'm a really big YouTube fan. Those that are close to me know that I'm absolutely obsessed.
Yeah. When's your channel coming out?
I watched well, yeah, that's something that I definitely need to focus on once things have quietened down a little bit, which probably isn't ever, let's be real. So start. Anyway.
I'm really liking Marcus Philly's page on functional bodybuilding. I enjoy that because I like his
Yeah.
approach to training. He used to be a CrossFit athlete, so I'm quite into that. So I tend to, for training, I feel as a personal trainer, you should always be following other trainers and kind of, well, not all trainers, but a few. You should try to find somewhere you can kind of go get some tips from. And I enjoy the way he talks about training. So, and he always relates about what he did in his competing years. So I quite like Marcus Footy's stuff. I also, and I've got some cycling ones I follow. And then through like development, I'm a big fan of the Think Media podcast. Oh, they've got two. They've got the Think Media podcast and the Think Media channel. And Think Media taught me how to get good at all this sort of stuff. Like they do camera reviews, mic reviews, how to set up a home studio, how to edit on Final Cut Pro, how to use all this, how to make a podcast, how to make a YouTube channel. And yeah, like I just started watching them, and that taught me how to get set up basically. And then their podcast, the Think Media podcast, is also on Spotify, but also on YouTube. And again, that's just really good business advice on how to set up a podcast, how to make a successful YouTube channel, how to reach your audience on YouTube, how to grow. And again, that's just something I like to chuck on. The guy who runs it, Sean Cannell, he's really easy to listen to, really knows his stuff. And he's been doing it for like 10 years. So like he speaks really well and it's just like an easy watch. But also he grew his channel to, I think if you get 1 million followers, it's like the gold platinum YouTube sign. He's grew a few channels to that status now. So again, it's someone who's started for nothing and then built to that. So it's quite a good channel to watch, and you should definitely watch that because their slogan is you just got to press record, as in just get going.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's it. You've just got to start.
And I do like that because it's a slogan that comes up at the beginning of every episode. It's like you just got to press record, and it's like it does make sense, and you just get 1% better with every video, and that's all they tell you to do. Exactly. Just try to improve one thing every video. So yeah, Think Media, you should definitely give that a go. Yeah. And I expect a YouTube channel to be out. What's the date today? So today's the 22nd of February, and this episode's coming out on the 1st of March. So I think it'd be fair to have something set up. Or what's his name? 1st of April. 1st of April.
Okay, you've challenged me. Yeah, let's do it. It. I'll do that. You can hold me to that.
I can hold you that. 1st of April, first episode goes out. Ouch.
There you go.
Loads of time. 6 weeks.
Bags of time.
Good. Right. All right then, Jess. Time quickly flew. That's already 30 minutes. It's surprising how quick it goes once you start getting into these sort of conversations. So favourite books, favourite podcasts, favourite channels. I'm going to put a link to all of these below so you guys can check them out. I always say, I'm a big fan as a personal trainer, as a coach. You should always look to develop yourself as a coach. It's a never-ending process, and being a PT, a part of our job is, the knowing about fitness, loving fitness, being good at programming, being good at coaching cues, being good at understanding nutrition and giving nutrition advice. That's like one side of our job. The other side of our job is having a business mindset, running a business, learning how to sell and price present and talk to people, and that kind of makes a personal trainer. So what you should do is constantly focus on becoming a coach in terms of developing your skill, but also focus on developing your own mindset and your own business sense. And a great way to start with that is by books and self-development and trying to always be learning. And books is just the easiest way you can do a course every single month. Would you agree with that, Jess?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, and like for me, it's like you can easily go through 12 books a year just through Audible, and then podcasts and YouTube channels of people that are doing the job you want to do right now. It's just an easy way to always be working on this side of business where you need to sharpen up your mindset, sharpen up your business skills, and then always be working on developing yourself as a coach. You work on both sides, that makes you a complete personal trainer. Good. So I'll put all the links below, and get involved. So Jess, how do people reach out to you? What's your channels at the moment? So YouTube coming soon, and then your Instagram.
Yeah, YouTube TBC. My Instagram is at at Jess Lockwood _fit. That's where you can find me.
Perfect. I'll put a link into that below. So give Jess a follow. She's always posting quite cool stuff on her Instagram at the moment, and YouTube channel coming soon. One little plug for me. Like I said, I met Jess on my business course back in January, and the next Coaches Corner business course is on the 11th of March. So this comes out the 1st of March. It'll be on Friday 11th. General sale is now open, but this intake will close on the 6th of March. So the intake opens for 2 weeks, and that's for both the online only and for the in-person workshop on the 11th of March, and then it closes. And it has to close because for everyone who signs up, I have to work with those and make sure they get set up. And it's really important for me that the people that do sign up, I really work with initially to make sure everything is fully up and running, and I'm answering all their questions. And so I do have to close. So the intake will close on Sunday, 6th of March. I'll deliver the course, and then the next intake will open back end of March. But if you want to jump on, the intake's still open to Sunday 6th, and there's still a few places left for the in-person practical on the 11th on Friday 11th of March. But the link below will be for the website will be below. All the details are on there, and yeah, Jess very much liked the course, and
I loved it.
yeah, and I'd love to see more of you on it and getting involved, especially with the online version. For those of you that can't make it to London, there's an online version now that wasn't available before, but that is now available. And once again, that has an open date, and that will be closed on the 6th of March, so don't miss out on that. Okay, Jess, thank you very much for coming on today. I hope you have a good rest of your February and a really good March. And yeah, guys, thanks for listening, and we'll be back for the Coaches Corner podcast in April. Right, I'll see you later.
Thank you.